What's up, welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, directed by David Leitch, new action comedy film, and the reunion of two key components of Barbenheimer, of course, with Gosling and Blunt. And The Fall Guy, I thought, was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this film. The reason The Fall Guy works as well as it does is the immense chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. You're talking two A-list stars that just immediately gel on screen. You are rooting for these characters, you like them, and you believe everything about them. This is an excellent use of Ryan Gosling's deadpan comedy, and because the film is directed by David Leitch, of course a former stuntman himself, the stunts and the action are both plenty in the film and great. Tonally, the film is actually a lot of fun, jumping across genre and being very referential to filmmaking and filmmaking culture and how we think about stars and movies today, and of course the role of the stunt person and the lack of credit they often get. It's a really confident film that earns, I think, that confidence with just really great execution. And even if there's like quibbles to make with the plot's not really the concern. At this stage, David Leitch has become a pretty solid and steady studio hand, of course, co-directing the first John Wick and then going off from there. And, I think The Fall Guy, it's definitely better than some of his recent efforts. Better than Hobbs and Shaw. It's better than Bullet Train. Of course, reuniting with Aaron Taylor Johnson from Bullet Train, who plays one of the antagonists of The Fall Guy. Leitch being a stuntman, it's obvious, but there's a fun point of view to this film. And also, just some really, I think, really funny action sequences and set pieces, like the moment when Gosling's character, Colt, the stuntman, he is on drugs, doesn't even know what kind of drugs he's on, and he's seeing big colors and sound effects as he's fighting, and then he's just seeing unicorns for a while. It's a really fun sight gag. And Blunt, she doesn't get nearly as much screen time as Gosling does, but Blunt's character Jodie, this new director after grinding her way through the film industry, Blunt just knows how to hold the screen, and frankly, she definitely could have used more to do. It's not as egregious as her time in Oppenheimer, where she had very little to do, of course, but Emily Blunt's one of our great, movie actresses and a great action star in her own regard. Of course, let's link back on Edge of Tomorrow and how amazing she is in that. So I think any future Fall Guy film and any future use of Blunt in general, give her more to do. She can do it. Winston Duke doesn't have a whole lot to do as the stunt coordinator on Jodie's production, but it's always fun to see him, and he does get to fight a little bit. Winston Duke also not an A-lister per se, but he's a really great star as well. I really enjoyed Aaron Taylor Johnson too. It's just a fun tone for him to play as this actor, Tom Ryder, who Gosling is the stuntman for. And Johnson, at this point, I think he's really kind of come into his own as someone who's not afraid to chew the scenery, not afraid to kind of be over the top and play over the top characters. Just thinking back on his role in Bullet Train with Leitch or his role in Tenet, this is what this guy does. And he also just has innate star power, innate stature to him as well, which we think might be leading to him being the next James Bond. We'll find out about that soon enough. Hannah Waddingham also, I think, pretty well cast as the studio producer, involved with the film. Good use of her going back to her Ted Lasso season 1 days when she was the bad guy, when she was the villain, and she's kind of right at home in that. I could have used more Stephanie Hsu as Tom Ryder's assistant. She's really only in one scene, but I think she was pretty good in that, and of course she's great. Everything Everywhere All at Once, she was absolutely incredible. I want to see her in more stuff. The plot's of course quite over the top. I think there's some really straining belief sequences involving boats and gasoline and public gunfire that doesn't seem to grab any police attention. You let all of that go. Maybe we just say it's Australia, they're not paying attention as much, but I think it's not really the point. The mystery, who's trying to frame Colt, the core plots of that mystery component, not really the concern of the movie, and it's more about just kind of keeping things going. But a handful of action set pieces are fun, and it's really just the character dynamics again between the relationship between Colt and Jodie, and it's a romance that you really believe in. I think one of the best scenes in the film is when they first reconnect, and Jodie puts Colt through take after take of Colt as the stuntman, of course, being lit on fire and thrown into a boulder. And just watching that happen again and again as Jodie very publicly makes Colt talk about why their relationship went cold and ghosted the way it did. Like, it's an amazing moment, and it's sold on the back of its 2 stars as really carrying that scene. It was nice to hear a studio film so publicly note that they don't give out Oscars for stunts. Obviously, they should. Leitch, unsurprisingly, being someone to, speak that into existence in his work. Nonetheless, it's a just cause. We would hope that would happen one day. But yeah, The Fall Guy, I mean, I think the action is pretty fun, pretty good. There's a lot of action in it. And the romance is equally good as well. And you have the star power, wattage to match. So it's kind of everything you want from, I think, an action comedy film. And I quite enjoyed it. It's going to be a curious test for Gosling's box office viability, reviability post-Ken, post-Barbie. Ryan Gosling, he has not been the biggest hit maker in the past, thinking about movies like Drive and Blade Runner 2049 and The Nice Skies. A lot of movies he's been in have been money losers, So I'll be curious what the ceiling is on a movie like this, right? Leitch has made successful movies. Gosling and Blunt have made successful movies, but can something like this, which is ostensibly incredibly original, unique, can like traditional star power sell this movie? We'll see. I don't think it's going to be a bomb by any means based off the tracking, but like, what is the ceiling of this movie at the box office, and will it lead to sequels? We'll have to find out. But let me know, how did you feel about The Fall Guy? What did you like most about it? And for more movie reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.